In this video, we're talking about the final few chapters and indeed the ending of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This makes up part of the YouTube series in which I'm reading the entire Harry Potter series for the very first time. That's right, I've finished my second Harry Potter book ever. And what we normally do now is talk about the changes between the 1st and 25th anniversary editions, go through the chapters, but we're not going to do that. Because we need to talk about the end of this book. Because, let me start on a positive. JK Rowling does a really good job, I think, of setting up the end to this book. I think she pulls her reader along on a string really nicely. I think you're super excited to find out the identity of the heir to Slytherin and also the contents of the Chamber of Secrets. I think that this front cover, I talked about this before, I think does a really good job of being tantalizing. And right up until the very end, I was like, where's the sword? Where's the sword? Where's the sword? Where's the sword? Where's the giant snake person? Why's the eye bleeding? Where's the phoenix? And all those questions got answered. And, you know, this happened. So I was happy that happened. But I was a bit disappointed otherwise. Let's start by talking about what happened at the end. So it's revealed that the heir to Slytherin was Tom Riddle. And Tom Riddle has a diary. Harry gets a hold of it and he can communicate to Tom Riddle through the diary. Tom Riddle kind of drops a few hints through his memories that you can see through the magic diary that it was Hagrid who opened the Chamber of Secrets by mistake. So we're given lots of sort of hints and misdirection as to who actually is the heir to Slytherin and who opened the Chamber of Secrets. And it turns out that it was Tom Riddle all along. Tom Riddle used Ginny to open it for him. And Tom Riddle is Voldemort. I think it's that bit. I'm trying to think about it. Like, what is it that made me kind of go, oh, okay. Like, when I finished it, this is me, right? Oh. Okay. That's it. That was my reaction. The first book, there was a Voldemort reveal, and I was like, wow, cool. I love how she did that. Second book, not so much. I was a bit like, really? Like, it's Voldemort again? It's Voldemort, not Voldemort again? And it's ironic because, or maybe not ironic, I'm kind of contradicting myself a bit because I was quite excited about the idea that the books would continue to tease real fully powered Voldemort versus real fully powered Harry Potter, and then the final clash would be so epic. But still left a bit like, let's finish off this thought, right? So Tom Riddle is a representation of young Voldemort who's an ethereal magic kind of hologram who is Voldemort when he was younger. And the coolest bit about him was the way that Harry destroyed him by plunging, I can't remember what, was it shard or something, into the diary, and it like bleeds ink. That was really cool. I love that image. That was super cool. And then he kind of dissipates, right? We need to talk about the magic anagram. I need to find it because it's lame. Let me find it. Voldemort, said Riddle softly, is my past, present, and future Harry Potter. He pulled Harry's wand from his pocket and began to trace it through the air, writing 3 shimmering words. Tom, MARVOLO, Riddle. Then he waved the wand once and the letters of his name rearranged themselves. I am Lord Voldemort. Can we just talk about how Tom Marvolo Riddle's parents, Marvolo is not a name. Like, that's, you needed the letters for the anagram. Okay, it's fine. But his parents did a really good job of making sure that his name was an anagram of I am Lord Voldemort for the time at which he would need to reveal that he's Lord Voldemort. It's exceptional planning, and it's really silly. Marvolo's not a name. You just needed those. Yeah. Okay. That bit aside, he's Lord Voldemort. It's very similar to what happened in the first book, I feel like. But just not as good. I had a better ending. I'll share it with you. In my prediction for the ending of the book, and now my alternate ending to the book, the Beast of the Chamber of Secrets was never released, but somebody wanted to open the Chamber of Secrets. Somebody malevolent. Perhaps even somebody who wanted the Mudbloods gone, but didn't possess the power of the Heir of Slytherin in order to do it. I'm thinking somebody in the mould of like Lucius Malfoy, with the help of Gilderoy Lockhart, new character. Lucius Malfoy as well in this book, new character, right? And my idea was that they were using powerful magic from, well, either of them, but Lucius, to imitate beast-like attacks on the Hogwarts students and sort of frame the Beast of the Chamber of Secrets for those attacks. So the writing on the wall, the petrification of certain people. I sort of thought, well, wizards can do that too, right? It's not just the Basilisk, it's not just the Beast of the Chamber of Secrets that can do that. So I thought, what if they were doing that to entice Harry Potter, who they know is the heir of Slytherin, to find out where the Chamber of Secrets is first, which they already know where it is, but they can't open it. And then for Harry Potter to inadvertently open it so that he could defeat the beast in there, who was doing all these bad things. And then by him opening it, they got what they wanted. They wanted it open, but Harry would otherwise never have opened it. I thought that would have been a cool twist, like, for him to have done that. And I'm going to look you dead in the eye right now and say, I think that's a better ending to this book than the one that JK Rowling came up with. And there's almost certainly a huge number of plot holes in my alternate ending that you could tell me about in the comments, and I would gladly commend you for, because it's probably not that well thought out, and I'm not very good at doing this sort of thing. But I've done it anyway. And with that over, we can now talk about the chapters that I've read for this video. Let's do that. So the chapters I read for this review video: Chapter 13, The Very Secret Diary. It's the first time we're introduced to Tom Riddle's diary. Harry finds it, and we find out that he can write to Tom Riddle, and Tom Riddle writes back on the pages of the book, which is pretty cool. Chapter 14, Cornelius Fudge. Hagrid gets accused of releasing the beast in the Chamber of Secrets. He gets sent to Azkaban. Chapter 15, Aragog is Hagrid's giant spider acquaintance, whom he reared. Do you rear a giant spider? Gross. I have a few things to say about Aragog. Chapter 16, The Chamber of Secrets. 17, The Heir of Slytherin. 18, Dobby's Reward. And that's the whole end that we just talked about, right? And those are the chapters that I read. There's one change between the first edition and the 25th anniversary edition. It's a really interesting one. I suppose I'll do a bit of a warning that this change contains somewhat offensive language and outdated terms for people who are born with a cleft lip. Cleft palate is something different, I think, now. Used to be referred to as a hair lip, which, me being quite old, is a term that I was familiar with, and I knew that it meant that, but I also knew that it wasn't a very nice thing to say. You can almost just kind of hear it and think, why would you call it that? I always remember thinking it was H-A-I-R, but it's H-A-R-E, because it refers to the rabbit-like hair, the hair, and that those animals have a cleft lip, right? I'm not sure exactly how it connects, but it comes from that. And like I said, it's outdated, it's derogatory, it's offensive. So to hear Stephen Fry say it as I was reading along, I was a bit like, wow, yikes. and wasn't surprised to read the updated version, which I will find for you. Yeah, the Bandon Banshee had a hair lip, it says in the first edition, and in the 25th anniversary edition, it's been changed to the Bandon Banshee had a hairy chin. So, an interesting and positive change to the books there. Let's look through some of the notes that I've made and talk about some of these. In the chapter Aragog, Ron notices spiders running away. Harry was pointing at the ground a few feet away. Several large spiders were scurrying across the earth. Gross. Oh yeah, said Ron, trying and failing to look pleased. But we can't follow them now. Ernie and Hannah were listening curiously. Harry watched the spiders running away. Looks like they're heading for the Forbidden Forest. How could you possibly know from them scurrying away when you're in Hogwarts that they're heading for the Forbidden Forest? Unless you literally are stood outside there scurrying and there's the Forbidden Forest there. They're going that way. I don't know. Oh yeah, this was weird. So they're in the Forbidden Forest and they find JK Rowling's like building the suspense. There's something in the distance and then a light shines on them. Or, well, not in the distance. They stumble upon it and they can hear the engine and stuff. You don't know it's an engine. You think it's like a roaring sound. So she kind of teases that it's a big beast thing. And then it says, Mr. Weasley's car was standing empty in the middle of a circle of thick trees under a roof of dense branches, its headlamps ablaze. As Ron walked open-mouthed towards it, it moved slowly towards him, exactly like a large turquoise dog greeting its owner. It's been here all the time, said Ron delightedly, walking around the car. Look at it! The forests turned it wild. The wings of the car were scratched and smeared with mud. Apparently it had taken to trundling around the forest on its own. It's just weird to think that because the car ended up in the forest, it suddenly has developed a mind of its own. I just thought that was interesting, and it's like it says, trundling around the forest by its own, of its own accord. It was a tool to be used by humans. Now it has like its own will. Why? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. I just thought it was interesting. Let me see. This is like my favourite scene. I'm just going to read it. He looked into Harry's face. This is the Heir of Slytherin chapter. But it makes no difference. In fact, I prefer it this way. Just you and me, Harry Potter. You and me. He raised the wand. Then, in a rush of wings, Fawkes soared back overhead and something fell into Harry's lap. The diary. For a split second, both Harry and Riddle, wand still raised, stared at it. Then, without thinking, without considering, as though he had meant to do it all along, Harry seized the basilisk fang, that's what it is, on the floor next to him and plunged it straight into the heart of the book. There was a long, dreadful, piercing scream. Ink spurted out of the diary in torrents, streaming over Harry's hands. That's such a cool image. Flooding the floor, that's wicked. Riddle was writhing and twisting, screaming and flailing, and then he had gone. I just think it's really nice. Really cool. A couple more things to talk about here. I really like that Hagrid is just painted as just such a lovely person. He's a protector of beasts, isn't he? Like he loves all animals and beasts and things that are magical or not. He has the obsession with the dragon egg in the first book. He's raised a spider's egg in this one. And leading on from that, Aragog says, from respect of Hagrid, and he says this to Harry and Ron when they're trapped in the nest, the den of spiders, gross. From respect of Hagrid, I never harmed a human. And then he comes out and orders his spider brethren, or his sons and daughters, is it? To just kill them. A little bit inconsistent. Out of respect of Hagrid, I never harmed a human. Kill those humans. And finally, my theory about the end came to an abrupt kind of realization that wasn't going to happen when Harry Potter started talking about the basilisk and how people had looked at it indirectly, so they survived. But if they'd looked at it directly, they would have died. So all the victims in the story looked indirectly at the basilisk. Not one person looked directly at the basilisk and got killed that way. Really? Yeah, I just had to check in the book, but yeah, Moaning Myrtle died by looking at the basilisk, directly at the basilisk, right? So all of the victims in this book who looked indirectly at the basilisk, they didn't die because they didn't look directly at it. But the only encounters characters had with the basilisk in this book before the end were by looking indirectly. I mean, what chance is there that the only victims of the basilisk were the ones who looked indirectly at it, and nobody looked directly at it? It just was bizarre. That's kind of it, but we can't leave it on such a negative note. I did enjoy the book, by and large. Left disappointed by the ending. But Prisoner of Azkaban is up next. It's the longest book of the series so far. It might take 4 videos to review that. We shall see, but I'm looking forward to it. And I will see you for the first of those videos next time. Bye.